Dan Dale and the other High facilitators present the High workshops at locations around the world. Approximately once each month, High presents Sex, Love, and Intimacy Level 1 at the Harbin Conference Center. This is a weekend residential workshop beginning Friday evening and continuing through Sunday dinner time. At these workshops, you'll learn about getting beyond issues of body image or packaging, increasing your self-esteem, discovering how much alike people are, and letting go of or moving beyond fears of letting people in. It's an experience of love that many people find unique in their lifetime.
Intimacy for most people is a foreign concept. We think we know what intimacy is, but intimacy says exactly what it is when you listen to the word very slowly. Into me you see. Intimacy. Into me you see. Well, the problem with most of us is very important, is that we have become so protected, so afraid to let people look inside of us, because if they do, if they can see into us, then we become so vulnerable that we're afraid that we're going to be taken advantage of and that we're going to be hurt. But the truth of the matter is that once you become vulnerable truly, then you become very potent, very powerful, because you don't have anything to hide.
The Human Awareness Institute, empowering individuals to be potent, loving, contributing human beings. High workshops are presented in Australia and Japan, and in the United States in New England, Michigan, and California. High workshops provide each participant with a new depth of understanding about the choices that are available and how we make them. And from this awareness, participants discover for themselves new possibilities in their life.
I think a lot of gay men and women get many negative messages from their family, from their friends, from the culture, from the media. Even now with gays hitting the news much more, and gay rights hitting the news much more, we're just given a lot of negative messages. And from our religion, I know I was told I was bad and wrong. Fundamentally, I was bad and wrong because of who I was. And in my heart, I knew I was okay. And and in my interactions with other gays in the community, I see that many of us are wounded by that growing up experience. The issues I was dealing with back then had to do with really low self-esteem. I was just really afraid. I was very afraid of people. I was very afraid of what people were thinking of me, and I had a lot of ideas, chatter in my head about what people were thinking about me. And almost all of it was negative. My self-esteem was so low from my childhood. And what I got at my first level 1 was that I was lovable and I was beautiful and I was enough, and I didn't understand it.
If you think you're magnificent, well, guess what? You are, except there's very little support given to us to be thinking about ourselves as magnificent, because people who think that way are called egotistical, narcissistic, so we're programmed not to feel good about ourselves. No, we generally don't accept ourselves, and we generally don't love ourselves because we've been programmed not to.
The way the exercises were structured, they were showing where my fears were, and every exercise brought up another fear, something else that I hadn't addressed. And above anything, I think what I learned is how my life was ruled by fear, how all the decisions I made were based in fear. Decisions about intimacy, decisions about relationships, relationships like with my boss, with my family, my parents, my brothers, relationships outside of the workplace, just working relationships. So there was a lot that came up for me through level 1. So I spent about 2 weeks just purging, just looking at why am I this way, Why do my relationships last for a short period of time and then fall apart? Why do I feel afraid to speak my truth? Why do I feel afraid to, listen to other people's truth, listen to someone when they're angry at me? I wasn't emotionally available.
How do you feel when you're in love? Well, almost every adjective that people talk about when they mention love is something energizing. It's like, wow. I could do anything when I'm in love. And of course you do, because the energy is flowing. Everything in the universe is energy. Love is energy. We are energy.
I love the morning after. the difference that I feel in my community here, for example. All these reasons why I created sort of to separate myself from other people now are not there. And I just feel this soft, open place, this really soft, open place in which I can find love with anybody, really. You get this safe environment within which to meet one another and to share. And you don't have to be somebody that you aren't. Because of the safety of the room that's created, and because of taking down boundaries and, like I say, getting to know who the real person is in a safe space, it's just different from what happens in the world a lot. Having the safe spot to be intimate with one another, not being lesbian women, but being friends. And it was really, really healing to be in a safe space where I could experience the beauty of humanity, spirituality, with people that I never probably would have allowed myself to be close to had it been out in the real world. And that was so healing.
In the past 25 years, High Workshops have assisted over 30,000 participants in finding more love in their lives. In addition to weekend workshops, High presents the one-day workshop, Pathways to Intimacy, several times each year. Whichever workshop you choose to attend, you'll find direct experiences of love. You'll have full choice over your participation. In a caring, supportive, and confidential environment, you'll expand your capacity for intimacy, go beyond barriers to love, and release fears surrounding sexuality. You'll learn how to be more open, close, and safe with others. You'll discover your beauty, power, and love for self. The Human Awareness Institute, replacing ignorance and fear with awareness and love. The Human Awareness Institute aims to create a world where people live together in dignity, respect, understanding, trust, kindness, honesty, compassion, and love.
Yes, love is the only answer. As a matter of fact, one of my current talks is love is the only answer. What in heaven's name is the question? And the problem is because the people who say, yeah, in the real world you can't do this, are products of the very people who unfortunately demeaned them and didn't love them in a way that nurtured their soul. You see, violence is done in many ways. There's psychological violence, there's emotional violence, there's physical violence, and the one that we always forget is that there is spiritual violence. That every single time something is done to us that's negative, it's like taking a slice of flesh out of our soul. And so, yeah, we become very cynical. And cynicism is a way that we protect ourselves. And what we human beings have been doing is protecting. It's almost like we've become warriors and we have this suit of armor and we've forgotten how to take it off. And one of the things that pure love does is says, I don't need this armor. That maybe, okay, if you're still cynical, maybe you don't need as much armor. Let's take a little of the armor off. Is that still okay? As opposed to having this thick armor that you really don't need, because in our lives, the times that we do need to defend ourselves or protect ourselves is minimal compared to the time that we can be in love. So I've made a decision. I choose to be in love 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And people say, well, you can't do that, or how boring, or how do you know? How do you know? I know because I've been doing this now for many years. And I'll tell you, there is no better place in the world to be than in love. Pure love is like a crystal pool. Pure love is absolutely magnificent. The problem with what people call love and pure love is the difference between day and night.